Sky the Little Dragon by me. After a while, he comes to a stop, then turns and sits down. He declares proudly, "Well, my nose has done it again. You are home sweet home and no thanks needed. I'm just happy to help a fellow animal." I look around and say, "I think your nose made a mistake." Look around. We're back where we started. I shake my head and sit down. I am sorry. I guess I'm just not trained enough yet to track your scent back to your cave, he replies. We sit in silence for a while, the only sound coming from the birds in the trees above. I got it. You got wings, right? So you can fly above and spot your cave like that, he says. I shake my head and reply, "No, it will not work because I can't fly. Father has not yet even started my lessons yet. He says I'm still too young and have to wait a little longer before I can start learning." Skippy turns around in a circle excitedly, shakes his head and says, "I know. My mom can help you find your way back to your cave." I sit quietly thinking about this for a time. Perhaps it would not hurt to try, I think to myself. I answer him, "Okay, we will try asking your mom. How does she feel about dragons? She will not want to eat me. Will she, Skippy?" Skippy laughs and said, "You give yourself too much credit. You would be way too tough to eat. Besides, Mother eats only fish." Then he whispers in a soft voice, "She is trying to lose weight." By the time we get to Skippy's home, it has become very dark. As we walk, I look up, seeing a group of bats fly overhead. I look back at Skippy, who is leading the way to his home. "We're almost there," he says, turning his head towards me. It's just beyond those trees ahead of us." Feeling too nervous to speak, I just give him a nod. Once we're near the trees, I can hear female voices. I am unable to make out what they are saying. Skippy laughs. "Those are my sisters, Daisy and Dot. They are probably wondering where I have been all this time. They are always wanting to get me into trouble." I look in the direction of the cave. By the light of the full moon, I can just make out the two shadows of his sisters, as well as the entrance of the cave. I look back at Skippy, who was smiling deep in thought. Something about the smile on his face had me nervous. I asked, "Skippy, what are you thinking?" A few seconds pass until he finally replies, "I have a great idea. You just follow my lead and leave the talking to me." Oh no, I thought to myself, this does not sound good. I say, "What are you going to do?" Skippy only replies, "Shh." As we approach his sisters, Daisy is the first to spot us. She comes running up to us. She says, "I see someone finally decides to come home with his tail between his legs." Dot, who had followed close behind Daisy, asked, "Wait till Mom gets a hold of you. She has been worried sick, thinking something bad had happened to you." Neither of them had noticed me yet, to my surprise. I am sure it's not every day that a cub like Skippy brings home a baby dragon. Daisy laughs, saying, "You're so grounded." Daisy and Dot continues laughing until Skippy clears his throat. Skippy calmly says, "I am not too worried about that. I believe she'll be way too worried about whatever happened to the two of you." They look at Skippy puzzled, saying together, "What do you mean?" Skippy smiles a most wicked smile. He then says, "You haven't noticed my friend that I have brought home." They all turn and look at me. I swallowed hard, saying, "Skippy, But he quickly interrupts me, saying, "You see, I have made a new friend." He walks up beside me and continues, "As you can imagine, he is quite hungry, and you two have put on a bit of weight." Daisy and Dot look from Skippy back to me with their mouths open. They suddenly turn and run into the cave, their screams for their mom floating back to us. I stand there unable to say anything, shocked at what had just happened. I look over at Skippy and find him rolling around on the ground. Ha ha ha. Did you see that? He cried with glee. I stand there staring at him, not believing what had just happened. How could you do that? They're not going to trust me at all now. All thanks to your stupid joke, I said. Skippy shakes his head and stands back up. Oh, come on. It was just a joke. They'll probably even find it funny too later, he replies. I shake my head. I turn and start towards the cave. Look, I am sorry. It's just I saw a chance to get them back for all the jokes they pull on me. Skippy said, well, I just don't think it was right or very nice, and it was wrong of you to use me as a part of the joke, I reply. I am sorry, Skippy says. So are we still friends, right? Skippy says as he bounces around me. I smile at him. Yes, I say. Looking back towards the cave, we both freeze at what we see. In front of the cave entrance is Skippy's mom. Her hair is all fluffed up and her legs are stiff like she was ready to fight. I swallow hard, realizing that she was ready to fight the dragon. That was me that had come to eat her babies. Skippy, I say with a quivering voice. He runs in front of me. Don't worry, I'll explain everything, he says, before heading towards his mom. I stay behind watching them talk. I watch as Skippy sits down in front of his mom. Now and then she looks back at me. As I wait, I suddenly start feeling like someone is watching me. Strange, I think to myself. I then look around, searching the bushes and trees for anyone who might be behind them. Finding that there is no one else around, I try to relax, yet the feeling stays with me. I then remember something my father had told me. Whenever you have a sense of someone watching you, always remember to look at the sky as well as your surroundings on the ground. There are many animals that can fly and climb trees. I swallow hard and slowly look up at the sky. I stand there in total shock at what I see there. It is my mother circling above us. She looks at me, then back to Skippy and his mom. They were so caught up in talking that neither one had noticed Mother flying above us. I watch as she suddenly dives down towards us, then lands in between me and the wolves. I realize that she believes that I am in danger from them. I quietly move up beside her to explain everything. Before I am even able to speak, Le Frog leaps down from her back. With his sword in hand, he declares, I, Le Frog, am here to rescue you, Le Bébé, from the evil creature. With that, he pulls the sword in front of his face and then swings it towards the wolves, yelling, Charge! No, stop, I cry. Please, Le Frog. Wait, they're my friends. Mom, please. You don't understand. Skippy was just trying to help me find my way home. That's all. Mom continues standing there in silence, her tail swaying slowly back and forth, a puff of smoke coming from her nose. Finally, she says in a soft yet firm voice, Stop, Le Frog. I let out the breath of air that I didn't realize I was holding. The frog stops and turns, saying, Yes, my fair lady. Giving Mom a gallant bow and returns to her side. I watch in shock as my mom starts to walk towards the wolves. Skippy's mom lets out a low growl and stops in front of him. I shake as she starts to walk towards my mom, meeting her in the center of the field. The frog stands beside me, swishing his sword, and declares, Have no fear, my lady. I shall protect you. I shall protect Love Baby. I look at him and roll my eyes, shaking my head. As Mom stands a few feet from Skippy's mom, she turns her head up takes in a deep breath and lets out a blast of fire into the sky. Both me and Skippy gasp in shock. Our mothers slowly begin to circle each other. Suddenly, they jump on one another, rolling around on the ground. Then they start laughing to our amazement. Skippy gasps, "What? I don't understand." As he runs towards me, we both stand there watching our mothers laying on their backs laughing. I look at Skippy and then turn to LaFrog, who stands leaning on his sword with a smirk on his face. Of course, LaFrog would know what was going on. LaFrog, what just happened? Why are our moms acting so strange? I ask him. LaFrog looks up at me and shakes his head, then walks in front of me and Skippy. LaFrog, was the great teacher to both your mothers. They have been friends since they were petite babies, like you two. He declares with a swish of his sword. What? Me and Skippy say together. LaFrog declares. The joke is on you two. Ha ha ha. And then he turns and walks towards our moms, leaving us standing there. Later that night, my mother explained that she had met Skippy's mom when she had become lost in the woods as a young dragon. They had been friends ever since. It was LaFrog who had suggested that their small ones should meet the same way. Of course, he had been hidden in the woods, watching us in case we needed help. I smile to myself as I slowly fall asleep thinking about LaFrog. Several days later, me and Skippy are sitting by the great pond waiting for LaFrog to appear. Suddenly, there is a great splash from the pond, and LaFrog lands on a lily pad. LaFrog, is now ready to begin today's lessons for you, le babies. LaFrog declares. We look at each other and then we swish out our swords that we made from some twigs that we found laying on the ground. Holding our toy swords in front of our faces, we both declare, "Oui, LaFrog, sir." At that, LaFrog's stern face crumbles and we all burst out laughing. That end. That was Sky, the Little Dragon, by me.